Okay, I'm back here working on the Honda Odyssey for probably about half the day. It's actually New Year's Eve day as I speak, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish the other part of the motor mounts and hopefully get those mounted. I realized yesterday that I didn't really film much of how I was building those motor mounts that I already have, so today I'm going to go ahead and capture more footage of how I actually did it, because I realized that's probably something somebody's going to be interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and capture all of that stuff. And I also, yesterday after I left here, went to the Home Depot and bought some black oxide pipe from Home Depot. It's a 1-inch inside diameter, and because it's scheduled 40 pipe, that means the outside diameter is almost exactly 1.25 inches, which coincidentally is the same outside diameter approximately as this pipe that's here. However, this roll cage pipe is much thinner and, you know, equivalent to like a bicycle handlebar, and Schedule 40 pipe has a pretty decent wall thickness. It's at least 1/8 of an inch, and that's, you know, cardboard. So that'll be potentially interesting, but it should be alright. It looks like it's decent steel, it's just pretty thin, so we'll see. So my first step was to recheck all of my measurements and the alignment of the pulleys and the level of the engine this way, that way, and this way, that way, just so I make sure that at some point yesterday it didn't become jostled and messed up. So this is how the brackets that I made yesterday are looking. Obviously I need to cut some more of this off, and then I need to cut this off and that off so it sort of lines up with the chunk of aluminum better. But those I'm still happy with. I will get those burnt in all the way when I have the front motor mounts made. So the next thing I need to do is go around front and see what I'm working with on the front. Okay, so I've reoriented myself and reoriented you so you can see the front of the engine. So on the front of the engine, I have this bar to work with, which I can move. Of course, I can cut it off and re-weld it. And then I also have these tabs here. So what I'm thinking about is, what can I use that's close by that will work? So first thing that comes to mind is I can just make a piece of metal out of my 3/16 that just sort of comes straight out like this and then can tie into this pretty easily. And that's true on both sides. Another option I can do is to eliminate this, because I do have to also think about my exhaust clearance now. My exhaust is going to come straight down this way somewhere, and it's either it's going to have to go straight out that way, or it's going to have to come this way and then do a 90 out the back of the go-kart. Which, looking at the exhaust pieces that this engine would have had, that's completely possible. But that means I need to think about, is this bar going to be in the way? So that then therefore means, do I want to actually use it if I'm going to end up removing it? So another option at that point is to come out this way and then make the bracket look like the back ones and then tie into these uprights. But that means on that side, it's really far away to get there. So in that instance, I would probably still make use of this anyways. So I now have to sit here and think about what I want to do. Alright, so what I've done here is give myself another point of reference, and this is a part of the exhaust that I was given when I took over this engine. And it had a really funny setup over here. I don't know, I did something fucking stupid, but looking at the exhaust options, these are pretty much what I'm going to end up working with. It's going to have this pipe and it's going to go 90 that way, or it's going to be this pipe and it's going to do a 90 this way, because I can take this off and actually flip it around. So in this orientation, it would actually fit just fine right now. If I take it and flip it around, however it won't, because it then hits this bar, and then this actually comes pretty much right in line with this here. So that means my exhaust is pretty much going to have to go up that way and then do the 180 back that way, which is fine, that'll work. I could probably flip it around and make this work too if I had to, but that means I would have to cut this here and here and then re-brace it and whatnot, which I can do, but if I don't have to, I don't have to. I could, I guess, alternatively, actually looking at it now, could take this, cut it down, and move it further down, which I, now looking at it, might end up wanting to do. I would just have to cut this weld and cut the same welds over there. Completely possible. Might actually be the best option now that I'm looking at it. So I have in fact decided that cutting this off and re-welding it lower is the best course of action. Okay, she's loose, and there's just one weld I wasn't able to cut on the other side due to my space constraints, so I'm just gonna give it a good wiggle and it'll free up over there. Whoever did the welding on this stuff before was definitely a quality welder, as you can see. And turns out that this bar is also pretty wiggly, so I'll have to reinforce that as well. Get it welded up nice and good, but removing this bar is definitely the way to have gone here. Alright, so instead of up here, I'm going to make it so it's down here, is what I'm going to go for. Something like that. It's going to have to clean up the ends of that so I can get some nice welds on there. Okay, I've put the camera in a position I'm okay with welding near. Usually that camera doesn't like being welded around, so usually don't film it, but I figured I'll give it a shot today. I have the torpedo easel level magnetized to that bar so I can have a chance of at least making it a little bit level. I've got the welder set up for about 1/8 inch, which is kind of what this might look like. It is. And I'm gonna go ahead and stick it here in a position that I'm satisfied with. I'm just going to do a couple tack welds on this right now, and then worry about finishing welding it later when I'm happy with how it turned out. Now looking back at my water mounts, I have everything in a nice easy position. I got plenty of exhaust clearance still, actually more than I had before. And because the motor mount is now here in reference to this bar, all I have to do is take a piece of metal and make it bend about this much, and I can have a stud welded to this part to go up through the hole, and then with it like that, all I have to do is then run some welds there and whatnot and be good. This side, same thing, just have to make a nice little bendy piece of metal kind of like that, and be good to go. So I'm going to measure exactly how long this has to be, and then go from there. Okay, I'm over here on the bench thing, and this is 3/16 inch steel. So this is the template I'm going to use. I got lucky, and it actually will work for both sides. This is the section that's not going to be used, notated by the X, but where this is over here is about where the hole is going to have to be, or the bolt I should say is going to have to be for the motor mount plate on the piece of aluminum. This line represents where the bend is going to have to approximately be, and then this is the very end of it where it ends on the other side of that crossbar. So I just have to measure what this is and then transfer those measurements onto this plate, and then I could cut out this piece of 3/16 with the plasma cutter. Okay, over here is a section of metal that I have to cut out. It's 2 inches by 4 inches. This piece over here is a mistake I made yesterday. It's 2 inches by 5 inches, so in order to make it work, I just have to cut off 1 inch on the end. But I'm going to go ahead and plasma that shit out. Okay, for my next trick, I'm going to go ahead and cleanly bend this 3/16 inch steel. So, per my template, the bend has to be a big 2 inches down from the top. So I'm going to go ahead, mark a big 2 inches down from the top. So this is the part that will touch the aluminum. The hole will be somewhere about there. This is the part that gets welded to the crossbar, cross member, whatever you wish to call it. Alright, so I just went ahead and continued the line, so I have a good reference point for my death wheel. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it with the death wheel, but not go all the way. I'm going to stop, you know, when I'm like 3/4 of the way through. So now that I have that slice in there, all I have to do is go ahead and give it a good few whacks, and I can bend it to whatever angle I need. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and try that out on both sides and see how I like it. And then I can come back here, make some adjustments, and I'll be A-okay. Alright, all I did was go ahead and trace out where the bolt hole thing is on the aluminum plate for the motor mount. As you can see, this is the left side, this is the right side. They are a little bit different because I'm reusing parts and pieces and stuff like that. But so all I'm going to do is drill out this to 1/2 inch, so I could use some 1/2 inch bolts. Because that's the size bolt that I decided to use, and we'll go from there. So, nothing special is going to happen, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the drill press over there to drill it out to 1/2 inch. If you're working with metal or whatnot, or in most cases, you know, you start with something smaller and then step up to it, so I'll start with something smaller and step up to 1/2 inch. Not that 1/2 inch is really that crazy big or anything, but it just makes it easier. Timer to weld. First thing I'm going to do is turn this 1/2" bolt into a stud. Don't judge me. Apparently this length is only in grade 8 over there. Whatever. So I'm going to turn that into a stud right quick and then do the rest. And there you have it. I have 2 motor mounts. So now I'm just going to let those cool off because they're really hot right now, and pick up some of the mess around me because it's about time to call it for today.